Hi everybody, it's Susan from Sunrise Quilt Studio, and this is part 3 of the Posies and Diamonds quilt. And in this video I'm going to show you sewing the rows together to make the posy quilt and adding the borders. Okay, now I'm ready to sew all the blocks together. So I pulled out 4 of the posy blocks to put together here, and I'm just kind of mixing and matching the colors in the prints. So I have a purple, an orange, a red, and a teal that I'm going to put in, and in between each one of those is going to go a diamond block. So I'm going to turn the diamond block so that I have these seams, so that these seams here are nested together, and going to sew those into rows. So I have 4 posy blocks and 4 diamond blocks in this. So it'll start with the posy block and end with the diamond block, and then the next row will start with the diamond block and end with the posy block. So I have the quilt pattern here, the layout, and this is actually like this first row is all the same print. So I don't want to do that, but I want to follow the color placement. So I'm just mixing the prints up. This is just how I designed it on EQ8 so that I knew I was getting all the prints in. So because if I scattered them around, it was getting too confusing. So I just went in order of the way the fabrics show up in the program, and then went that way. So I like the color placements, but I'm not going to put all one print in a row, and that's what this is. But it gives me the color ideas, so I'm kind of following that, and I'll probably mix that up as I go. But anyway, I'm ready to sew my blocks into rows, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. Seems like on myself. Give that more. Okay, there's one. Okay, so here we go. I'm not sure which way to pull that. Here we go. Okay, that's row 1. And you know, you can always label these as you're sewing them together, but I'm going to stack them in order. So this is row 1, and this will be in a stack on my cutting table, and I'll continue with row 2 and continue on until I have all the rows sewn, and then I will sew them together. Okay, so now we're down to where we have all the blocks sewn together into rows. At least this is where I'm at. I've got all my rows and I've got them in order. I showed you the printout of the quilt that I have on EQ8, and I did make some changes to it as I was sewing things together. I wanted to rearrange some of the prints, and I did arrange a couple of the colors when I got near the end of the rows, the last couple of rows. So I switched those around a little bit just to kind of scatter the colors around a little bit and the prints around, so I didn't have a row of all one print and then the next row will be in another print. So they're all kind of scattered about. Anyway, I think this is going to be a really pretty spring quilt, and so I'm going to get started sewing all these rows together, and I'll show you the top when I have it done. Okay, so I am now ready to get started, and I'm going to sew together rows 1 and 2. So here's row 1. I'm going to lay that across my sewing table here, and then take row 2 and lay this one across. And I'm going to decide if I need to pin all the seams. So there will be 2 seams in each block that will meet on each row. So sometimes pinning is necessary, sometimes it isn't, and sometimes I just do it to feel more secure. So some of these rows will, or these seams will nest together, and some of them aren't going to. So usually when the ones that don't nest together, then I like to pin. So I'm going to go ahead and pin this first row anyway. And I know some people feel pinning slows them down, and I understand that, but in the long run, though, I think it saves me time because I don't have to stop and make sure everything is nested together as I'm sewing. Okay, everything's pinned. So I'm going to go ahead and sew this seam. There are, I think, 8 blocks in each row, so that's a good size quilt. Okay, so here's rows 1 and 2. So every other block is a posy block, and then what's in between is a diamond block. And you notice there are no points that I had to match, so that helps things go faster. Now I'm going to go ahead and press this seam and move on to adding more rows to the quilt. Okay, I had to take my glasses off so I could see the camera. Okay, so the first 2 rows are sewn together and it's looking really good, and I'm going to press the seam here and then move on to adding more rows to the quilt top, and hopefully get this done today, and then get started on the outer borders, or the inner and the outer border. So I have 2 borders planned, and that is my least favorite part of putting a quilt together, is the borders. And I don't know why, it just is, but something has to be done, so I'll get to that eventually. So I'm going to press, and then I'm going to go ahead and add additional borders. Thanks for watching. For more quilting ideas, click on the video links. And to keep up with my latest projects, click on the subscribe button. I hope to see you again soon.